Hello and welcome back to the Central District Hoops Report. I'm your host, Justin Griffiths, and in this week's episode, I sit down with the Lakeland Laker coach, Julian, and we talk about his tenure at Lakeland as well as what his team has been able to do early on in the season. Also, I break down the very slim amount of games that we had over the Thanksgiving holiday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our first team, the John A. Logan Volunteers. And Logan opened up their only game of the week against Kankakee Community College and beat the Cavaliers 78-69. John A. shot 28 of 56 from the field compared to Kankakee's 28 of 59. Good for 50% for Logan to 47.5% for the Cavaliers. So both of them shot the ball really well. It was behind the three-point line that killed Kankakee. They shot 6 times behind the three-point arc and made one of them compared to Logan's 10 of 21. Again, great for 47.6% from behind the arc. Free throw-wise, it was pretty much even. 12 for 13 for the Cavaliers, 12 for 14 for Logan. Logan wins the rebounding battle 32-27. And also, but Kankakee was able to win the turnover battle with only turning the ball over 6 times. However, Logan didn't turn it over too many times more with 13. And right around Thanksgiving, that's where you want to be, is right around that mid-teens mark, maybe a little bit lower for Coach Smith-Peters and the Volunteers. Let's go ahead and jump into some team stats first for the Cavaliers of Kankakee Community. Kalen McKenzie led the way, shooting 8 for 11 from the field, 5 of 6 from the foul line. He finished with 21 points. Jamonte Smith was 6 of 14 from the field, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He finished with 13, as did Joshua Ray, 13 points off of a 5 of 10 shooting performance. He grabbed 5 rebounds and had 2 block shots. Off the bench for the Cavaliers, really nobody contributing. Ricardo Corvell was 1 for 3 shooting. He led them with only 4 points off the bench. However, he did have 5 rebounds. For John A., it was a all-around well-balanced shooting performance for them. Jaden Miles led the way, 4 of 6 shooting, good for 12 points. And Marcus Evers was 3 of 5 shooting. He had 4 rebounds to go along with an assist and 11 points. Off the bench for Coach Smith-Peters was Evan Noel, 4 of 4 shooting, good for 12 points, and all 12 points were from behind the three-point arc. Again, Logan shot this extremely well from behind the arc, and Noel was a leading contributor. Even though he didn't get into double figures, Caden Hawkins also big contributor behind the arc, 2 or 3 from behind the arc for 8 points for him. So again, Logan was just able to win the turnover battle, or they lost the turnover battle, but win the rebounding battle, and just shot lights out from behind the arc and pull out a huge victory right before the Thanksgiving holiday. And Coach Smith-Peters and them were able to enjoy the Thanksgiving break. Up next are the Kaskaskia Blue Devils, and they pull out a narrow victory over Southeastern Illinois, 73-71. Again, Kaskaskia, this has kind of been their MO as of late. When they have to face a team a second time, they perform as same or slightly worse. This time, Southeastern was able to cut it to a 2-point loss for them. So, big shout out to the Falcons of Southeastern Illinois. Kaskaskia didn't shoot the ball terribly. They were 27 of 65 from the field, good for 41.5%. From behind the arc, though, they did struggle a little bit. 3 of 14, good for 21.4%. They did get to the free throw line 27 times and made 16 of them. So, obviously, leaving 9 points on the board there. Good for 59.3%. They did grab 38 rebounds and had 14 turnovers. Again, right around this time of the year, you want to be right around the 15 or fewer mark, so able to do that against Southeastern Illinois for Coach Hancock and the Blue Devils of Kaskaskia. They were led by Jamal Chambers, who was 4 of 12 from the field, 1 for 2 from behind the arc. He had 4 rebounds to go along with 3 assists and 3 steals. He did turn the ball over 3 times and he finished with 13 points. He was the only Blue Devil in double figures. However, Markel Newsom was 3 of 12 from the field, grabbing 6 rebounds and 5 assists to go along with 8 points of his own. And Miles Liddell was 2 of 9 shooting for 7 points, but having 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Off the bench is where they really shined. It was Lionel Hodges, who was 8 of 14 shooting, 4 of 7 from the foul line, having 5 rebounds, an assist, and 2 steals to go along with 20 points, team high, as well as Terrence Hall, who was the most efficient Blue Devil, shooting 5 of 6 from the field, having 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals, finishing with 12 points. Anthony Stanford was 2 of 5 shooting, finishing with 7. So again, Coach Hancock is able to get his team going. It is just traditional Kaskaskia. They beat you bad one time, and then the second game is a lot closer. And it looks like it's going to be kind of the same here again. But again, Kaskaskia is the only unbeaten team in the district at the moment. Spoiler alert. But it is really good to see that they are starting to gel together as a team. Next up are the Lakeland Lakers, and again, thank you to Coach Larry for sitting down with me and talking. Lakeland had 3 games on their slate. They played the most out of every team this weekend. They led off against Lewis and Clark Community College. D2 used to be in this district way back when. They dropped down a few years ago. They were able to pull out a 107-85 victory here. Lakeland shot 40 of 71 from the field, 20 of 24 from behind the arc. Lewis and Clark was 34 of 75 from the field, 6 of 25 from behind the arc. Again, that tells you the story here. Although Lakeland also won the rebounding battle 39-28 and barely losing the turnover battle. But again, kind of right where you want to be at this point in the season with 13 turnovers. Lewis and Clark won that 11-13. But again, being out-rebounded by 11 were the Trailblazers of Lewis and Clark, and Lakeland was just hot from the field, 56% from the field. Let's go ahead and look at the leading scores, starting for Lakeland. They were led by Johnny Jones, 5 of 7 shooting, had a rebound, and finished with 15 points. Peyton Weimer, also shooting well, 4 of 7 from the field, had 7 rebounds to go along with 11 points of his own. And Devin Woods led out the Lakers starters in double figures, shooting 5 of 8, having 10 assists and 10 points. They were also led off the bench by Joshua Bryant, who had 17 points and 10 rebounds and 5 block shots. So again, Coach Larry able to get a lot out of his bench here, as well as a player that we mentioned before, Sean Dukonovich, 6 of 12 shooting from the field, having 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and finishing with 16 points. Again, we talked about how Coach Larry's team jumped from year 1 to year 2, and you'll see that a little bit later on in the episode, but we talked a lot about his returners doing that, and so good to see Sean doing that for Coach Larry against Lewis and Clark, who were led by David Marshall Jr., 6 of 11 shooting for 15 points. He did have 2 steals, but the Trailblazers didn't really rebound the ball too well here, and he was the only Trailblazer starter in double figures. However, he was not the leading scorer, as Brian Stampley Jr. was 6 of 14 shooting, 3 of 6 from behind the arc, grabbing 4 rebounds and 19 points, as well as Darren Enlow, 6 of 9 shooting, 1 of 2 from behind the arc. He had 4 steals and 3 assists. He finished with 14 points as well. So the Trailblazers did get some help off the bench, but it wasn't enough to beat Lakeland in the first game. And then they had to travel over Thanksgiving to southeastern Iowa and take on Highland Community College in the opening game, and they won that 77-71. Highland, again, one of those Region 4 teams that play the district almost every single year. Highland shot 25 of 59 from the field compared to Lakeland's 29 of 63. So again, both teams shot it over 40% from the field. However, Highland was 10 of 17 from behind the arc, while Lakeland was 3 of 17. So that was part of the reason why everybody was really close. Lakeland missed 7 free throws, but so did Highland. Lakeland won the rebounding battle 38-28, and if this is right, both teams didn't turn the ball over too much. Lakeland only turned the ball over 4 times to Highland's 8. So let's go ahead and look at individual scores. First, for the Cougars of Highland, led by Jason Kimbrell, 7 of 15 shooting, 4 of 4 from the foul line, and 3 of 6 from behind the arc. He had 5 assists to go along with 3 steals and 3 rebounds. He finished with a team-high 21 points. TJ Pingoza was 4 of 10 shooting, 3 of 4 from behind the arc, had 3 rebounds, and finished with 14 points as well, as did Adidas Davis. 5 of 11 shooting, 2 of 4 from behind the arc, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. He finished with 13 points. Off the bench for the Cougars, Kaven Katuk was 2 of 5 shooting, 3 of 5 from the foul line, finishing with 7 points, and that was really the only Cougar that contributed well off the bench for Highland. For the Lakers, on the other hand, Stevie Tatum was 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 5 from behind the arc, also having 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Finished with a team-high starter-wise 16 points, as Peyton Weimer, again in double figures, 7 of 13 shooting, had 6 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, finishing with 14 points. Joshua O'Brien continues to contribute well off the bench for Coach Larry, 6 of 10 shooting for him from the field, grabbed 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. He finished with 15. And again, Sean Dukonovich in double figures, 4 of 8 shooting, 0 of 2 from behind the arc, however, and again, in a game that Lakeland did not shoot well from behind the arc, he grabbed 4 rebounds, had 4 assists, finished with 11 points off the bench. So again, Coach Larry able to get a lot of stuff done in the first game in southeastern Iowa over the Thanksgiving holiday, picking up a huge win, because Highland's one of those teams that battles for a hutch spot every single year. And then they had to take on the host Blackhawks of Southeastern College, and they actually fall in this ball game 72-62. And let's just take a quick look at this. Southeastern was 28 of 55 from the field, but Lakeland shot it a little bit better at 27 for 52, 7 of 19 from behind the arc, compared to Southeastern's 4 of 15. Here's where the problem was the free throw disparity. Only 2 free throw attempts for the Lakers, compared to 14 for Southeastern. Southeastern also wins the rebounding battle and the turnover battle. Rebounding battle 37-20, and the turnover battle 12-17. Again, but Southeastern, again, one of those teams that always battle for a spot at Hutch every single year. Let's go ahead and jump to individual scoring. They were led by Samuel Hinkapai and Peyton Weimer, each having 15 points. Hinkapai was 7-11 shooting, good for 6, and had 6 rebounds to go along with 6 assists. Devin Woods also had 9 assists. He finished with 8 points. Weimer was 7 of 14 shooting from the field, having 6 rebounds and a blocked shot. He finished with 15. Stevie Tatum was 4 of 7 shooting, all from behind the arc, finishing with 12 points, but had 4 assists to go along with 2 rebounds as well. Sean Dukonovich, one of 2 players off the bench, did not score, did not attempt too many shots. 0 of 2 shooting for Dukonovich. Off the bench for Coach Larry, again, only played 7 players in this ballgame and took Southeastern to the brink. They trailed by 5 at the end of the half, so again, Coach Larry able to do well things here again, and we'll talk to him later on in the episode as well. And for Southeastern, they were led by Shamar Avance, who was 9 of 16 shooting, 4 rebounds, and 18 points. He was the only Southeastern player in double figures besides McKee Grant, who was 4-4 shooting, 2-2 from the foul line, and he finished with 10 points. Overall, balanced shooting for Southeastern, and they were just able to pull out a tough win on their home floor on November 30th. So, again, Lakeland goes 2 for 3 of the evening, or of the week, so very successful break for the Lakers, and they will continue to do well as we get closer to district play. Up next are the Lincoln Trail Statesmen, and actually I don't have any stats for Lincoln Trail, so I'm just going to go over what Dave Hunter mentioned in his blurb recaps that he sends out to us after every game. The Statesmen traveled to Southeastern to play in that same classic that the Lakers did. They opened up against the host school, Southeastern Iowa, and Southeastern Iowa was able to knock Lincoln Trail off the unbeaten list with a 65-60 win in the nightcap. Marquise Lewis led the Blackhawks with 17 points. Shamir Vance had 14 points, and Enzeal Carroll had 11. Gabe Morgie led the way for the Statesmen with 22 points, and Ronnie Ellis scored 8. Southeastern led this game at the half at 33-27. So again, battling a ranked team and falling short is nothing to scoff at. Again, when you're taking on a lot of good teams, it's bound to happen, especially this point in the game. Then they had to turn around and play Highland, and Lincoln Trail absorbed its second consecutive loss in a wire-to-wire loss to Highland, 74-70 in the Southeastern Iowa Classic. The Statesmen held a 70-68 lead when Jaleem Kiago tied the game with a putback with 150 to play. The Statesmen had a turnover, and the Cougars were able to run out the clock. Lincoln Trail followed the turnover with a pair of missed shots, while the Cougars finished off with the win at the free throw stripe by Jason Kimbrough, who led the team with TJ Bagonas with 18 points each. Adidas Davis had 11 points, while Ronnie Ellis led the Lincoln Trail with 14 of his team high 16 points in the opening half. Ty Williams had 15 points, including 3 threes, while Gabe Morgie, another returner, netted 14. Michael White hit 3 threes as well. He finished with 9 points. Lincoln Trail actually led it this half, 35-34, but unable to beat Highland. Again, District 4 team taking on District 16, and it was just unlucky that Highland was able to win this game against Lincoln Trail. Trail goes 0 for 2 this week, but they played really high competition, so my preview of them when I said they were going to be about middle of the pack to lower pack, I think it's starting to look that they'll compete for a possibly for the number 1 seed in the district with the way Lincoln Trail is playing. Well, when it rains, it pours for the Blue Knights as Olney loses their lone game of the weekend to Mineral Area poorly, 96-70. Again, this was supposed to be part of a 4-team classic. Unfortunately, Wilbur Wright dropped out late, so it was just between Mineral Area, Vincennes, and Olney Central. Mineral Area was just able to dominate Olney on their home floor all night long, shooting 40 for 81 from the field compared to Olney's 28 of 65. 8 of 23 from behind the arc for the Cardinals compared to Olney's 7 of 26. Free throw wise, again, none of these teams shot many free throws. Mineral Area 8 of 10 compared to Olney Central 7 of 12. However, where the Cardinals really picked up the win here is in the rebounding battle, 51-26 winners in that one, although they did turn the ball over 4 more times, 10-14 in favor of Olney Central. But again, it just was too much for the Blue Knights to take over. Jordan Logan, who up until recently I didn't realize was the same Logan that transferred from John A last year, and they have another player who did not play in this game but did play against Vincennes on Saturday, was from Lakeland. But Jordan Logan led the way for the Cardinals, 7 of 13 shooting, had 10 rebounds, and finished with 16 points. Jordan Richard was 5 of 9 shooting, had 12 points as well. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. And Edwin Dooling Jr. was 2 of 10 shooting, had 4 points. But only those 4 played meaningful minutes. Joseph Scott led the Cardinals off the bench, 8 of 15 shooting, grabbing 7 rebounds, having 2 assists, finishing with 16 points, while Preston Turner was on fire, 5 of 7 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, grabbing 6 rebounds to go along with a steal, finishing with 14 points. And Stephen McDonald was 5 of 5 shooting, finishing with 10 points and 6 rebounds for the Cardinals. Olney had 3 players in double figures starter-wise, led by Logan Webb, who was 8 of 16, 3 of 10 from behind the arc, grabbing 3 rebounds to go along with 4 assists. He finished with a team-high 20 points. Javar Jones was 8 of 13 shooting, finishing with 4 rebounds and 2 assists and 17 points, as well as Jaleel Bethea, who was 6 of 19 shooting, 4 of 4 from the foul line, grabbing 2 rebounds and 2 assists, having 3 steals, finishing with 17 points. However, Caden Miller was the only Blue Knight off the bench that scored, 2 of 5 shooting, good for 4 points. He did grab 7 rebounds now, and his nickname is Big Country. Again, one of those games where it was just tough for Olney to counterpunch when they got punched a little bit. But still, this team is going to be very dangerous when it comes to district play because they've had really high level of competition, losses, especially to teams like Mineral Area. Blue Knights fall in their only game of the week. The Shawnee Saints won their only game of the week against Western Kentucky Tech, 125-66. The Saints were 51 of 86 shooting from the field, good for almost 60%, so they really lit it up from the floor. 11 of 26 from behind the arc, good for 40.3%. Free throw-wise, 12 of 14, so didn't shoot many free throws. Had grabbed 60 rebounds and only turned the ball over 6 times. Again, hard to schedule these games over the Thanksgiving holiday, so the Saints are just thankful that they were able to play a game and not have to sit idle all week. Ladricus Pittman led the way for the Saints, shooting 10 of 15, 2 of 7 from behind the arc, grabbed 5 rebounds, or grabbed 5 assists with 4 rebounds, and finishing with 24 points. Xavier Bell finished 7 of 13 shooting, had 7 rebounds, as well as 2 steals, finished with 18 points. And Johnny Anderson, 7 of 14 shooting, grabbed 10 of his 18 rebounds on the defensive side of the ball, and finished with 15 points. Off the bench for Coach Sparks, it was Kashawn Washington leading the pack with a 6 of 8 shooting night, 5 of 7 from behind the arc, grabbing 13 assists to go along with it, his 17 points. And James Deloche was 5 of 6 shooting, good for 13 points, and he grabbed 6 rebounds as well. For the Saints, again, they were able to pull out a huge victory and then enjoy the rest of their holiday. Again, Shawnee really stepping it up this year and being able to pull out victories going into district play, which is always important. So while SWIC didn't play during the holiday break, they are currently playing as I record this on Monday night. They are taking on Jefferson College. Game has yet to tip off, but I did want to mention that SWIC was off for the Thanksgiving holiday, but are currently playing Jefferson College. So next week I will mention that more in depth. But again, I just wanted to mention that SWIC was the lone team off for the Thanksgiving holiday. Well, Mineral Area claimed another victim in the district as Vincennes took on the Cardinals in the second game of that Olney Classic, and they fell to them 82-79 in a barn burner. Vincennes shot 27 of 60 from the field, good for 45%, 4 of 15 from behind the arc, 26.7% from there, while Mineral Area was 27 of 58, good for 46.6, and 8 of 19, good for 42.1% from behind the arc. Vincennes wins the rebounding and turnover battle, so this is one of the rare occasions where winning both doesn't secure the victory. Vincennes wins the rebounding battle 37-33 and the turnover battle 11-12. So again, it was the 3-point shooting from the Cardinals that killed the Trailblazers here. The Cardinals were led by Preston Turner, who was 6 of 15 shooting from the field, grabbed 4 assists to go along with 4 rebounds, and finished with 22 points. Jordan Logan was 7 of 14 shooting and 4 of 7 from deep, grabbing 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and finishing with 18 points. Jordan Richard and Edwin Dooling Jr., each with 10 points. Each shot the ball 6 times. Richard shot 4 of 6, while Dooling was 3 of 6. Richard and Dooling had 4 assists apiece, while Richard grabbed 3 rebounds, finishing with, again, 10 points apiece. Joseph Scott was another Cardinal in double figures, so all 5 Cardinals being in double figures. Joseph Scott was 4 of 9 shooting, good for 12 points. He had a double-double with 14 rebounds to go along with those 12 points and 3 assists. Off the bench for the Cardinals was Diari Duncan, who, again, the old Lakeland player, and I thought his name looked familiar when we were covering the Cardinals earlier in the year, but I wasn't 100% sure until I saw Dave Hunter talk about them. He was 2 of 3 shooting, good for 7 points off the bench, and the only real contributor off of the Cardinal bench. He did get into foul trouble as well. For the Trailblazers, they were led by LeBron Thomas, who was 6 of 15 shooting, 1 of 6 from behind the arc, 9 of 13 from the foul line, grabbed 2 rebounds to go along with 4 assists, 2 turnovers. He finished with 22 points, and Dayton Williams was 9 of 14 shooting, grabbed 9 rebounds, and finished with 19 points. Off the bench for Coach Franklin and the Trailblazers, nobody was really effective except for Kanaz Achagwu, who was 1 of 1 shooting for 7 points. 5 of his 7 came off of the foul stripe. Darson One had grabbed 4 rebounds, finished with 4 points. There was a brouhaha with Vincennes and Mineral Area where Brian Anagmu got a technical foul as well. He finished with 4 points and 3 fouls. So again, Vincennes played really well. They actually led at the half 41-39, and it was back and forth all game long for the Trailblazers, just falling a little short against another, again, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, a team that is historically at Hutch, and actually the Blazers have not played Mineral Area in the regular season since the 2011 Laker Classic. Vincennes did win that game 82-42 way back when I was a manager in 2011. So again, first meeting in the regular season for the Blazers and the Cardinals best them by 3. Last but not least, the Wabash Valley Warriors went to Moberly to play in the Moberly Area Classic, and they fell to the host school 60-68. Moberly shot 7 of 53 from the field compared to Wabash Valley's 21 of 47. Wabash shot 8 of 17 from behind the arc compared to Moberly's 9 of 22. So again, both teams shot about the same. It was the turnover battle that killed the Warriors. Moberly only turned the ball over 9 times compared to Wabash Valley's 19. And Moberly won the rebounding battle, but not by as much, 30-29. Moberly also able to go to the foul line a lot more. They were 25 of 31 compared to Wabash Valley's 10 of 16. With all that being said, Wabash, again, able to keep this game close. They had no starters in double figures. Muja Burton and Cole Forlow were the closest ones with 7 each. Forlow was 5 of 7 from the foul line, while Muja was 3 of 8 shooting, 1 of 4 from behind the arc, grabbed 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Forlow also had 2 assists as well. But again, closest 2 players to being in double figures for Coach McGee. Although he did have 1 player in double figures, and that was Daniel Robinson. He was 5 of 9 shooting, 3 of 3 from behind the arc. Grabbed 5 rebounds to go along with 5 assists, and finishing with 15 points. Again, really the only contributor off the bench for Coach McGee. While Moberly area was led by KJ Vassar, who was 5 of 13 shooting, 13 of 13 from the foul line, grabbed 2 rebounds to go along with an assist and 3 steals. He finished with a team high 27. Ede Piapu was 3 of 12 shooting, 2 of 6 from behind the arc, and 6 of 7 from the foul line. He did grab 8 rebounds and led the Greyhounds with 14 points as well. And those 2 were the only 2 in double figures for Moberly, although Dejon Bates was close with 9 points off of a 3 of 5 shooting performance, and he grabbed 3 rebounds. So again, Wabash Valley falls in the opener of the Moberly Classic. However, they did have a rematch. Both these games were rematches. Moberly, they lost by 10 in the first matchup, and then lost by 8, while they took on State Fair and beat State Fair by 17 after falling to them earlier in the year by 15, excuse me. And the Roadrunners not able to control the Warriors in this game. State Fair shot 22 of 53 from the field and 3 of 13 from behind the arc, compared to Wabash Valley's 26 of 55 and 7 of 19 from three-point land. Also, both teams shot the ball from the foul stripe about the same, 24 attempts for Wabash compared to 20 for State Fair. Wabash connected on 18 to State Fair's 13. Wabash was able to dominate the rebounding battle and win the turnover battle. Rebounding battle was 39-27. Turnover battle was 12-14. For the Wabash Valley Warriors, they had 3 players in double figures, led by Muja Burton, who again, 5 of 11 shooting from the field. He's really stepped up in the second year. He had 3 rebounds to go along with 3 assists and 2 steals for 14 points. Daniel Robinson and Cole Forlow each had 11. Cole was 5 of 6 shooting from the field and grabbed 4 rebounds, while Daniel Robinson was 4 of 8 shooting from the field, had 3 assists to go along with 2 rebounds and a blocked shot. Off the bench for Coach McGee, Clay Butler led all scorers with 15 points off of 4 of 10 shooting performance. 2 of 5 from behind the arc, had 4 rebounds to go along with 4 assists, and like I said, 15 points. Kevin Anthony was close to being in double figures as well. He was 2 of 3 shooting, 3 of 5 from the foul line, finished with 7. And Sherrod Dent Jr. was 2 of 3 shooting. He finished with 6 points. For the Roadrunners, they were led by Chen Hansen with 21 points off of an 8 of 13 shooting performance. He grabbed 8 rebounds to go along with 3 blocked shots. But he was the only Roadrunner to put up any meaningful numbers, although Alec Gunnels and Devin Matthews had 8 points respectively. Gunnels did it from the foul stripe, while Matthews did it from the field. Again, both finishing with 8 points, but Chen Hansen led the way for the Roadrunners, and Coach McGee and the Warriors were able to split the weekend and heading into district play. That is huge. Well, for the first interview of the Central District Hoops Report this year, I have a very special guest, coach of the Lakeland Lakers, Julian Larry. Coach Larry, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
So, Coach, compared to your other coaching stops that you've had before Lakeland, what drew you to the Lakers?
Um, well, it was a Division I JUCO. I was at Dakota College of Botano before here. Um, Coming into this situation, I was the assistant coach under Brandon Colvin. He was my head coach at Botano. When he left there, I wanted to follow him. And so coming up here, I was his assistant for the first 4 years. Then right before COVID hit, he took another job and I became the interim head coach.
What has been the biggest challenge that you have had to face as you build that culture in Lakeland?
Um, Challenges. I think it's just the progress of just trying to improve every day. I wouldn't really say it's challenges. It's just more or less of things we just have to get better at. You know, we have on our wall, get better every day, and that's just what it is. So, I mean, I love what I do. Um, I'm blessed to do this, and we'll continue to do this.
And I mean, you have some really good kids coming back too, mainly Sean Dekonovich. With all your returning players, really, what have you noticed the biggest thing that they have done from year one to this year?
I think the biggest thing that they've done is learned how to handle adversity and finish games. I think they've learned to finish that. We had a lot of games last year where we had leads that we would blow and figure out a way to lose them. And so this year, we've done a good job of maintaining leads and handling the adversity when it comes.
And you guys have really had a very impressive pre-district schedule to your name. What has been the biggest challenge in scheduling those type of games this season?
Um, Wouldn't necessarily say it's a challenge. Just the way that we're rolling. We're just finding a way to win. That's what it really comes down to. Just playing hard and trying to stick together through adversity and trials and tribulation.
Uh, and what do you kind of tell your players? You know, district play is coming up this next week. What do you tell your players going into district play on what to kind of expect?
It's a dog world in there. I think we got a taste of it this last weekend in Southeastern, playing Highland, who's a very, very good ball club. We came out ready to play, and we were hungry, and we were successful that game. Day two, we wasn't as successful. We played them hard. We were down one with 10 minutes left, and just couldn't handle the adversity. And sometimes that happens to us. But one thing about this group, I let them know that this is what it's going to be every night from here on out. And so they're mentally prepared, physically prepared, and we're just going to take it one game at a time.
And I mean, you mentioned how hard it's going to be. You have two of the last five national champions in the district with Vincennes and Logan. How do you prepare for those type of teams? And not to mention Lincoln Trail, who is stepping up from last year where they kind of had a down year, but now they're in receiving votes category along with yourself and Vincennes.
Yeah, you just have to continue to stack days. Whichever opponent's up next, you have to do your preparation as far as your due diligence of watching film and seeing what they do or whatnot. But it's really more or less about what you're doing and are you doing the right things as far as what your program needs. And so at the end of the day, it's about us and what we need to do to get better. And so we're just excited. We're excited about the year. We're excited about the opportunity to play Shawnee, Logan, and Vincennes every year. Powerhouses. Franklin, one of the greatest coaches in JUCO history. Let's put it out there. Smith Peters does a great job over there as well. So, we're just happy to be playing basketball and doing what we love.
And don't sell yourself short there, Coach. I mean, you're one of the older coaches because you have Coach Franklin, Coach Smith Peters is actually newer than you, and Coach Sparks, and then it's you when it comes to the district. And I think comparing to that, what has been the biggest change in the district since you first entered it a while ago?
Well, I mean, I entered it 2016. So, I've seen a lot of coaches come and go, but, the ones that have been around, Franklin, Sparks, those guys have been around, Campo and Harrison, they've been around for a long time and, they've done this and they're really, really good at what they do. They're really, really good at what they do. I hope that I'm blessed to be able to continue doing this as long as they've been doing it. So, you see a lot of different coaches come and go, but it's always a tough league. It's always a tough league.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of it since 2011, and it's always interesting. That's why I decided to start this thing, give you guys the national recognition that you guys really, really deserve. I mean, Coach Franklin, you, Smith Peters, both Kyle and Tyler have really built this into a Big Ten, a MAC type of conference for junior college. But we have lost a few teams. We lost Southeastern Illinois and Lewis and Clark. So how has that kind of affected how that tournament is played nowadays? I know when I was in it, it was 11 teams, and we all stayed in Ina. Is that still your plan come March?
As of now, that's still the plan. Obviously those teams dropped off, but we still have a playing game. And then from there, everything's still been at Ina. Last year was at Ina, so I believe it's going to continue to be there.
Oh, no, I was talking about like practices and that type of stuff. Like you stay in a hotel in Ina, or will you come back to Mattoon?
Oh, no. We would come back to Mattoon. Yeah. Okay. We would come back to Mattoon every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And kind of just one of the last questions here.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite gym in the district to visit that's not your home gym? Because your home gym is very unique. Because I compare I compare it to a miniature version of Mackey Arena. Okay. That old style dome top. So besides Mattoon, what's your favorite gym to visit in the district?
My favorite gym to visit in the district. It's got to be, I'd probably say Vincennes, man. You when you go to Vincennes, you want to play at the top of your game. It's lights are on. You know what I mean? So Vincennes, Logan, everybody that's at the top. That's what it is.
Yeah. Anything as we get on going on and you've started streaming your games, where can we find Laker basketball?
Yeah, if you go to our website, which is lakelandcollegeathletics.com, you go there and then you go to men's basketball and scheduling. And then right during our scheduling on the right-hand side, it'll say video, and all of our games are live streamed right there. We live stream through Boxcast, and so it works out really, really well.
I try to catch as many as I can, to be honest, and I want everybody in the audience to as well. Lakeland's building a big-time team. They're top of the district right now, even though we haven't played a district game yet. I have them finishing top part of the district, along with Vincennes, Logan, and Lincoln Trail. So go check out the Lakers. Coach Larry, thank you so much for being the first one on this year. I hope to have more of you guys on as the year progresses.
No problem.
Well, we talked about the week that was over Thanksgiving. Now let's go ahead and look at the week ahead. Starting with the Vincennes Trailblazers. They have 2 games on slate this week. One is on December 4th. That's Wednesday night. 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off there for Faculty Staff Appreciation Night. Again, I love that Vincennes does these type of themed nights. They are taking on Schoolcraft College, a D2 school that is normally very well received. They are currently around 500 mark. But again, historically, Coach Franklin tries to get the toughest D2 schools that he can if he has to go down to D2. And then they play Saturday, December 7th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Coach Franklin mentioned to Dave Hunter that he hates afternoon games when it comes to Saturdays. And again, theme night for the Blazers, the stuffed toy for Tots night, again, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. They are taking on Triton College. Triton is ranked in the top 25, so a huge game for the Trailblazers. If they haven't had enough of those big games throughout the course of the year so far, Another big one coming up on Saturday night. If they're able to pull out a 2-0 weekend, they look very promising heading into district play. So it's just going to be about how they bounce back from the mineral area loss where they had it for a while. Again, that game was back and forth. But if they can rebound well against Schoolcraft and Triton, it looks very promising for the Trailblazers. Up next are the SWIC Blue Storm while they are playing one of their 2 games this week, and that is Jefferson College again. As I sit down to record this episode, that game is currently going on between SWIC and Jefferson College. So I will have more on that game next week. However, they do play Sunday, December 8th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off in the St. Louis Classic Shootout against Three Rivers Community College. And again, Three Rivers, a team that we've seen on here for a while for multiple teams. For SWIC, it is the barometer test going into district play. Really, the only other bigger test would have been Moberly that you played twice. So Three Rivers, that last barometer before you open up district play. Neutral site game for them, so it's going to be very interesting to see how SWIC bounces back. Again, able to control themselves, having a week off and playing Monday night, like I said, tonight as I record this, and then practice the rest of the week. Going to be interesting while they take on Three Rivers. The Shawnee Saints have 2 games this week. They open up against the aforementioned Three Rivers Community College on Wednesday, December 4th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time tip. For that one, again, Shawnee, this is a very good test. They've had a couple of them already with the Triton and Coffeyville and Indian Hills games. Another one to add to their arsenal before district play starts next week. I expect this to be a competitive game over in Poplar Bluff. So that should be interesting going between the Saints and the Three Rivers Community College. And then on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off for this one, they take on SEMO Prep, another team that they played earlier in the year. They won 95-65. I expect more of the same out of Shawnee, and able to pull out a big victory against SEMO Prep before they go into district play. It's just going to be one of those games that's extremely interesting, how they play and how they possibly have to bounce back after a loss against Three Rivers. I do see them splitting this week, but I think the Three Rivers game will be extremely competitive. The Olney Central Blue Knights have 1 game on slate this week, and unfortunately for them, they have to take on an opponent that they just saw in the Mineral Area College Cardinals. Like I said in the recap, they lost to Mineral Area 96-70 in the OCC Classic. Then they have to turn around and play Mineral Area on December 7th. That is a 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off for that one. And again, just unlucky for the Blue Knights to have to take on the same team twice, essentially. You do get a week break in between those 2 games, but again, you were supposed to take on Wilbur Wright on Sunday, but they dropped out of the Classic, so just unlucky for the Blue Knights. Hopefully they're able to bounce back and pick up a win. Unfortunately, I don't see it happening. I think they will fall a little bit closer than the 26-point loss that they had last week, but I do see Mineral Area. They're just playing really good basketball at the moment. I do see the Cardinals picking up the win here. Lincoln Trail has to bounce back off of back-to-back tough losses, and they will do so against Jefferson College on Wednesday, December 4th, 7 p.m. Central Time tip-off for that one. Like I said, it is at Jefferson College. They played Jefferson earlier in the year where they had a 5-point victory, a 98-93 victory there. I do see Lincoln Trail picking up a win here. They have proven that they win these tight games. Jefferson College, Olive Harvey Three Rivers, Danville, some of the closer games, and then again, just getting unlucky against Southeastern and Highland this past weekend. I see them picking up a huge win against Jefferson and then heading into district play on a high note. Again, I'm super thankful for Coach Larry to sitting down with me and doing an interview. Now, Lakeland does have a game tonight, as you see this going live, against Danville Area Community College, and that's why I'm so appreciative that Coach Larry sat down with me this week, taking on the Jaguars of Danville Area, a very good Division II team. We've seen them against Lincoln Trail. I don't think that Coach Larry is going to have any problems with Danville Area. It's going to be one of those games that is going to be very competitive, however, because Danville will get at you, and you can watch that on Lakeland's homepage. So go ahead and check them out. It is a 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time tip-off, and I will be watching as I try to catch every single one of these district games, but even more so knowing that Coach Larry has a long night and then decided to sit down with me again. Coach Larry, very appreciative that you've done that. Well, Kaskaskia's unbeaten record will go to the test this week as they take on Greenville University JV on December 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off for that one against Greenville JV. Again, I expect them to win this game and go 9-0. The bigger game is going to be Sunday, December 8th, noon Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Central Time. Tip-off for this one, it is the St. Louis Community College Arches in the St. Louis Community College shootout. This is going to be their big test going into district play. If they can pick up a huge win here, they look good going into district play. If not, it should be an interesting week for Coach Hancock and the Kaskaskia Blue Devils. Again, the only unbeaten team going into this week. So good luck to them. I do expect them to pick up the win against Greenville because they won this game 108-70 early on in the year. So again, the big barometer test for them is going to be St. Louis Community College on Sunday. So good luck to the Blue Devils. And last but not least, the John A. Logan Volunteers, where they have 2 games on tap this week. And the first game is a rematch from the second game of this season where they take on Three Rivers Community College. This one at Logan, a 3 p.m. Central Time tip-off for Logan and Three Rivers. It should be a very good game. The first one was a classic. Three Rivers was able to pull out a 60-57 win. I expect more of the same in terms of the closeness of the ball game for these two teams. Again, one of these 3 teams that Logan has had to play twice already. So it should be interesting as they take on Three Rivers. And then they got to turn around the next day and travel to St. Louis Community College to take on Moberly Area. Now, luckily, they don't tip off until 5 p.m. Central Time as part of this shootout, but it is going to be extremely difficult for the Vols to have a back-to-back game like that and to add travel to it. So very interesting to see how they perform against Moberly Area. I do expect that to be another close game, like a lot of these have been for Logan. The only really bad loss for the Vols so far is Triton, and they were able to get revenge on that later on in their preseason schedule as they had a home-and-home with Triton. So again, I expect the Vols, both these games are extremely tough, and I expect a close game in both of these as well. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. A little bit shorter of an episode. Wabash Valley does not have a game this week, so no preview for them. Every other team plays about 2 games this week. Again, coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday, always going to be a little bit thinner when it comes to the ball games. I'm just excited that we have ball games coming up, and next week we will preview district play, and boy, you don't want to miss that episode. It is going to be very good because all these teams are going to be very competitive against each other. But I will see you in the next episode. Peace.